tifu by eating 161 eggs in 13 days. That is the weirdest and most interesting post that I have read so far on this subreddit. In a world of AI-generated, amateur creative writing slop. Truly weird unhinged shit like this is like finding an oasis in the desert. Makes me wonder how depressed Gaston was in Beauty and the Beast. What do you make of Elon Musk's locking government workers out of computer systems at a US agency? I'm a contractor for OPM. The day after the inauguration, all of our servers were taken offline and we were told not to log into our computers. Every single thing that's happened during this presidency so far is probably way worse than anyone knows or is giving it credit for. I do not doubt for a second that Elon is going to do despicable things with government data. This is a government takeover by an unelected billionaire running a fake governmental agency ostensibly at the behest of the president. It's going to destroy lives. Call ICE, there's an immigrant fucking with our government. An unelected immigrant is taking control of government, he is the top person to deport. What did y'all think of Super Bowl halftime show, Kendrick Lamar's performance? Drake getting called a pedophile on international TV was a bigger blowout than the rest of the game. My first thought was, did Kendrick Lamar cause the PSN outage with those icons on the field? Who was the guy he brought out? The one holding the football and dancing around. Thanks. I love the 4 sassy ladies LOL. What ages a person really quickly? Loneliness, stress, depression. Cigarettes, stress, a poor diet, sun damage. Till about King Henry II and his son Henry the Young King. Henry Jr. led several revolts against his father. Despite this, they never stopped loving each other. When Henry II learned Henry Jr. had died, he said, "He cost me much, but I wish he lived to cost me more." What's the death of a few thousand peasants between friends? All Henry's sons rebelled against him at various times, often supported by the King of France, and even by Henry's wife, Eleanor of Aquitaine. The Angevin Empire was too large to rule from a single court, so Henry was always on the move, traveling through his lands, and his sons were left too much to their own devices, and awarded grand titles that promised future power, while still being dependent on their father for income. Not a good recipe for family harmony. You can't give me $5. I'm having flashbacks of training tellers like this. It's why I left banking. The absolute worst was the one who was confused that the customer had to pay for the total amount and the fee for a cashier's check. She couldn't understand guaranteed funds to save her soul. Working at 7-Elevens, we often would run low on small bills, especially on Sunday mornings with people purchasing the Sunday paper. Had a guy hit the ATM and then ask for change, no purchase. I told him I'm very low on cash, so this guy buys a pack of juicy fruit, 25 cents. I went to the safe that would give me $10 in quarters, 1s and 5s. Then proceeded to slowly count out 19 singles. He still called and complained. What are your thoughts? The transgender and non-binary people don't exist. Executive order. I bet the IRS thinks they exist. It's gonna make a lot of conservative voters happy without fixing any of their actual problems. Either we all have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or none of us deserve it. I'm as straight as the pole my mom danced on, but I support everyone's right to be who they are. My thoughts are that the president hasn't been in office for a day and has a fuck ton of stuff that needs to be fixed in America, from the housing crisis, healthcare crisis, debt crisis, which includes the healthcare crisis, etc., and his first order is to sign an executive order in an attempt to bypass the checks and balances put on him, so that he can make the lives of several marginalized groups worse, despite the fact none of them are causing any problems. The party of small government sure doesn't seem so when they're in power. What's the worst financial decision you've ever made, and what did you learn from it? Got $100,000 from my mom's life insurance and blew it within a few years. I was 19. And so dumb. And so depressed. With no guidance. I learned the importance of saving, LOL. Fell for buy now, pay later. Now I'm paying forever. Do not, under any circumstances, loan money to a friend or co-sign any loans with them. It messes up your life for a long time when they do not pay their bills. Boss didn't want to pay my colleague for a management role, so he took half the team with him. Sometimes bosses forget that the whole team is watching how they treat their valued workers. Boss didn't lie. It was a great opportunity and it did open doors. Different industries but a similar situation. A sales manager I've known for years brings his crew to every new job. He has had about 6 different employers in the last 30 years and his longtime team sticks with him. I remember seeing him at a new place and I recognized the admin from the previous place. She says, "Where Gary goes, I go." What is a product that you swore by your whole life, but have only recently learned that it's essentially just snake oil? Had a friend who religiously took anti-jet lag pills. I asked what the hell they were and he showed me. You took one with a full glass of water every 2 hours while flying in long flights. All they did was get you to drink water. People get dehydrated on long plane flights. So they worked, but it was really just the water that helped. Boar's Head. Along with their premium price, I had assumed that they had premium products, but their recent listeria outbreak exposed how they were warned by health officials over and over and over again and that they still fixed nothing. That they only did the bare minimum for safety facility cleanliness, which unfortunately resulted in the deaths of 10 customers. I'm sure there are worse offenders, but I no longer see the point in paying the premium for Boar's Head, and I never will again. Facial toners that close pores. I was amazed when I learned that pores don't open and close. I'd spent my entire life believing this. Feminax. It's just ibuprofen in a pink package and costs 3x as much. Just send me the invoice, so I sent it 14 times. The best way to get forgotten invoices paid I've ever seen was a very early web hosting company in the 90s. If the customer didn't pay on time, their website would get redirected to an error page saying site unavailable because company name doesn't pay bills on time. One of the places I work at, a large outpatient medical center, forgets to pay the satellite TV bill from time to time. You turn on the TV and there's a banner on the TV to call this number to pay your bill with no station availability. Our section will leave the TV on anyway, even after getting calls from administration to turn off all of the TVs. It's an absolute embarrassment. Clock out exactly at the end of my shift. Okay. What are you gonna do? Fire the one responsible person that you've got. Great plan. This screams Planet Fitness, LOL. That place is such a dumpster fire on the staffing end. What's the creepiest display of intelligence you've seen by another human? My dad. He knows so much esoteric and absolutely off the wall, strange knowledge that you sometimes have to question how and why he knows it. One day, while him and I were shooting the breeze about a job he had before I was born, he casually started talking in detail about the processes and ingredients needed to weaponize anthrax as an aerosolized dust. I knew a lady who counted pills in a pharmacy basically her entire life. One time she looked at a container of ibuprofen that was supposed to have 100 pills in it and said it looked off. She recounted and it had 99 pills in it. One less. My mind was blown. Not creepy, but my high school algebra teacher apparently had the textbook memorized. We were doing work in class by ourselves and struggling with a problem. "What page and what problem hashtag?" he asked. He then proceeded to write the problem out in the board without referencing the book. Blew our high school minds away. Till that in 1519, Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés sank his own ships except one after landing in Mexico to prevent his men from retreating. This bold move forced them to march inland and ultimately led to the fall of the Aztec Empire. I'm really surprised that Cortés didn't get murdered for that. It wasn't that rare an occurrence back in the day. Burn the food before launching an attack because either the enemy is routed and we've captured their food and camp, or we are all dead, so better make sure you win. Like and subscribe.